Which Disney character do you think has endured the most? There have been a lot. Cinderella lived as a servant. Elsa grew up hiding who she was. Even Quasimodo spent his life locked away in a tower. But if we're talking real life, day-to-day endurance, not magic, not destiny, just grit and responsibility, one character quietly carries more than almost anyone else. And that's Nani from Lilo and Stitch. Let's take a look at some of the burdens that she has carried. She loses both her parents suddenly, and overnight she becomes a parent herself. There's no extended family to step in. No break, no guidebook, just her, a grieving little sister, and a crumbling house she now has to hold together. She's barely an adult, trying to raise a child, managing a home, and somehow survive. She doesn't have a car. She doesn't have close friends. She doesn't even have time to process her own emotions because everything that she has goes into keeping Lilo safe. But it's not just survival, it's pressure. She's constantly being watched by Cobra Bubbles, always just one step away from losing custody of Lilo. She's struggling to keep a job. She's sacrificing her own dreams, her love life, her identity, just to keep the pieces from falling apart. And all the while, Lilo, who is full of grief and chaos herself, isn't easy to raise. Through public embarrassment, isolation, and heartbreak, Nani is forced to be both a sister and a mother. And she does it all with as much grace as any normal human could. That's a lot for any individual, even a Disney protagonist. But what makes Nani extraordinary isn't just what she goes through, it's how she responds. She loses her parents and becomes Lilo's guardian overnight. And instead of shutting down, she steps up. Not perfectly, not without fear, but with love. She takes on the role of parent with no training, no warning, and no one to catch her if she falls. When she's fired from her job, she doesn't collapse. She starts applying to anything that she can find. Lifeguard, shave ice stand, anything. Because someone has to put food on the table. She doesn't wallow or play the victim. She gets up the next morning and keeps going. Because quitting isn't an option. She is constantly being watched by Cobra Bubbles. And every little misstep feels like it might cost her everything. But she doesn't take it out on Lilo. She holds it in. She carries that fear silently, trying to stay calm for her sister even when she's breaking inside. And when Lilo lashes out, when she's difficult, wild, and hurting, Nani doesn't give up on her. She never makes Lilo feel like a burden. Instead, she meets Lilo in her weirdness, accepts her completely, and fights to give her a life where she can still be a child. She doesn't get applause. She doesn't get help. She just shows up. Over and over again. Because love, to Nani, isn't something you say, it's something you do. Especially when no one is watching. Now Disney loves its grand heroes. Princes who slay dragons, queens who conquer kingdoms. But Nani doesn't live in a castle. She lives in a small, worn-down home on an island, raising a child while barely holding herself together. She doesn't wield magic. She doesn't get a musical number. Elvis took all those. Elvis. She doesn't have a wise old mentor or a secret destiny. What she has are grocery bills, job applications, laundry that never ends, and a little sister who needs more than she can possibly give. And she still shows up. That's what makes Nani unforgettable. Not because she saves the world, but because she keeps the world from falling apart for the person who matters most. There's a quote from Theodore Roosevelt that says, "Do what you can with what you have, where you are." That is Nani in a single sentence. She doesn't wait for things to get better. She steps into the mess and keeps going. She tries. She fails, and then she tries again. Because survival isn't optional when someone you love is counting on you. And while so many Disney characters are defined by their powers or their victories, Nani is defined by her persistence. She doesn't have time to fall apart. She pushes through, not because she's fearless, but because she's needed. And you can really feel that pressure in every scene. She walks into job interviews with a brave face, even though she's desperate. She lets Lilo express her weirdness, even though it risks judgment and embarrassment. She apologizes when she messes up. She holds it together in front of Lilo even when she's crumbling inside. Courage doesn't always roar, Marianne Rodmacher wrote. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice at the end of the day saying, I will try again tomorrow. That's Nani's entire spirit. Her strength doesn't come from big speeches or dramatic moments. It comes from her quiet decisions. The choice to get out of bed, to make breakfast, to walk Lilo to school, to keep trying one more time. And maybe that's the most relatable kind of strength, because most of us aren't going to battle villains or cast spells, but we are going to face days that feel impossible. We're going to feel tired, overlooked, unsupported. We're going to have to hold things together for the people we love, even when we feel like we're falling apart ourselves. And in those moments, we can remember Nani. We can remember that showing up is heroic in itself. That sacrifice is strength. That love, quiet, patient, exhausted love, is one of the bravest things we can offer the world. So no, she doesn't wear a crown. She doesn't have a fairy tale ending. But Nani Pelekai is one of Disney's greatest heroes. Not in spite of her struggles, but because of them. So the next time you watch Lilo and Stitch, look past the aliens and the chaos and see the sister who carried it all. Because this is her song too.